You have now tuned into Insight Sundays, the show that brings you relevant news, youth topics with a new mission and focus for our communities. Here is your host, Adrian Mickens.
What's going on, Indianapolis? It's your main man, Adrian Mickens, with another edition of Insight Sundays here on AM 1310 The Light, presented by Harambe Production. As always, I got to give a shout out to all of our sponsors, which is Andrew J. Brown Academy, Indiana Christian Leadership Conference, or ICLC, Buttons and Bows Hair Salon, Bethesda Southeast Campus, New Vision Lighthouse Ministries, Lighthouse Academy Charter Schools, Vitality Bowls, Sam Ash Music Store, and Beach Grove Bible Church. All right, Indianapolis, as always, we have another all-star studded cast in the house today at AM 1310 The Lights. In studio, we have Jason Miller, and also we have Miss Katie in the house today, too, as well. Today, we're going to be talking about a grand event that's going to be going on at Ivy Tech Community College. And what is that event called again, Jason?
It's called the Bridge Project International.
The Bridge Project International. Can you tell us a little bit about what this event is, what's going on with it, and how can people get involved?
Okay, so when it comes to empowerment, there's a major gap between old America and young America.
Mm-hmm.
So the middle Americans are the bridge between old America and young America.
Mm-hmm.
We're old enough to deal and do business and interact successfully with older Americans, but we still young enough and relevant enough to influence the youth. So what's happening is with the Bridge Project, we're identifying the top 1% leaders,
mm-hmm.
and we're starting it with two at the top. And then we're doing it with 12 middle Americans at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're doing is we're setting up talks, because a lot of people were like, man, why aren't these events more packed? And we're not doing that. This is phase one.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, when you're unifying with leaders, you want to see if they can get along first.
Correct.
Why would you bring a whole bunch of leaders together at a school or some type of public event, and they don't even like each other?
Mm-hmm. No, you're right.
So it's a profile. And I shouldn't have said that, but because, when you say stuff like that, now people are going to be on their best behaviors. But we only have two more, this one and the next one, and we're done with phase one.
And I'm glad that you set up the system that way, because so many people go to empowering events, and we know how African Americans are. If they don't see a whole bunch of people there, they don't feel like it's been impacted. Right. But are you going to see the crowd, or are you going to get the message?
No.
Which one is it? So I'm glad that you are doing it that way, where it's more smaller. You can get the direct message from the mentor or leadership that you're trying to get of information. So that's great that you're doing it that way. I want to kind of chime in specifically with you, Jason. I'm going to work my way around. I know that you do a lot of things within the community. I see you as a community activist and a motivational speaker, kind of in one. What is it that you have specifically? What's your company called, and all that good stuff? In between.
I'm the executive director of a 501c3 nonprofit called the Impact Phase Program.
Okay.
So I have a for-profit consulting service as well, but those prices are really, really high. So the Impact Phase Program, you can go through your own personal development journey, donating once a month to my organization, like a gym membership, right? But guess what? We create a step-by-step plan on you to make it. So if it's 40 steps to your destiny, we're only talking about step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 40.
Gotcha.
Right? There's nothing else to talk about. I'm not going to call and talk about the coach. I'm not going to call and talk about, your favorite meal. We're talking about progression. That's what the Impact Phase Program is. So if you look at success, it's infinite. If you ever met somebody that made it to the top, they're lying. You can't make it to the top because the top is infinite. So when I meet leaders, because a lot of people, there's an Impact Phase Program for troubled youth, and no, leaders.
Correct.
Yeah. But watch this. So you're not in the hood? No. Does leadership not exist in the hood? Yes. But we're looking for the little Tupacs and Jay-Z's, little Master P's and stuff like that.
Correct, yeah.
Now, but we empower leaders and mentors who empower the hood, who empower the suburb, who empower other leaders, because, again, leaders, the top leaders, nobody's pouring into them.
Correct.
Everybody's asking them for something. Can I borrow this? Can I have this? So everybody's pulling from them. Well, the Impact Phase Program, we pour into leaders. And let me break this down. I started my career at 21. I'm 35 right now. Wrote my first book at 21. Liz Faith Dixon's my sister.
Gotcha.
Started my whole career in this whole industry. And it scared me because I was counseling 30, 40, 50, 60-year-olds pulling up in cars, living in houses better than me. But I was pouring into them, and it took me a few years to identify that this is my destiny. But when I say I know now, I know for a fact now. So when I say counseling Diddy's and counseling Dame Dash and people like that, be on the lookout on our website. We're definitely going to be getting that in.
Got you. All right, so I'm going to swing this around over to you, Katie. And I know that you are a educator.
I am.
Where do you teach at, if you don't mind saying, and what made you want to become an educator? Because in the times that we live in, you know, we have a lot of teachers, especially in Indiana, who started and then say, oh, this is not for me. So
I actually respect those people. I actually truly respect those people who say, you know what? I think I want to do this and I want to inspire and I want to empower. But after being in it and doing the work, they step back. Because I'd prefer it to be 5 teachers working, pushing, grinding, really motivating and educating youth than 20 teachers that aren't inspired and inspiring youth. So I respect people who do that. But I've been at a charter school called KIPP Indianapolis for the last 7 years.
Gotcha.
And I would say my reason for wanting to be an educator is because the people who impacted my life most were educators. The women who sat me down and said, you are somebody, you are valuable, you are worthy, you can change the world, were my teachers, my principals. They helped save my life. And so if I can be that to one, my life would be fulfilled.
Gotcha. Well, let me ask you this follow-up question, too, because we know what's going on, you know, with the Trump presidency and who he now has as, I won't say the nominee anymore. She is the federal educator director. So let me ask you this question. What improvements needs to happen in education? What do you see as a teacher day to day that would say, man, this would help us as teachers and then also the administration?
I truly think parent engagement is one of the biggest connectors to youth and education. If we have parents who value education, or think about it as a triangle, you know, you have the student, the parent, and the teacher or the school. If you can get 2 of those people on board, highly invested, you can win. But if you have all 3, the student, the teacher, because you have the student. I have a student in my class for 8 hours. We have them in our buildings for 8 hours a day. That's a full-time job for a kid.
Yes.
You know, and they're away from their parents that long. But if we can get the parent bought in to what we are trying to do, our structure, our education, our curriculum, if we can get them on board so that they don't stop learning when they go home, we as a community will win.
Gotcha.
So for sure, finding ways to get parents involved. And that's why I love my school, because any parent I talk to, their comments are, well, KIPP sure does talk. The teachers sure are connected, and they stay communicated. They stay communicating with our parents. They know us as people, and we know them as people, not just, oh, you're so-and-so's mom.
Gotcha.
So I have relationships with my parents outside of the school so that they know that I'm there to support their students.
And that's very important. You know, so many teachers have, and I'm only saying some, lose control of their classrooms. And my opinion why you lose control of your classrooms is because you don't have a relationship.
Yeah.
If that student knows you know their mama or their daddy, you take time with them, you do little fun stuff with them after
Outside of
school.
yeah.
If you tell them to sit down and behave, or they're cutting up or doing something, hey, I'm about to call your mama, and they know you really know their mama, you won't have to worry about these things. You'll be that ideal classroom that can walk up and down the hallway and be that model classroom, but so many teachers don't.
As I think about that, with being at a charter school, and there are township schools, traditional schools have to have the same issue where kids are transitioning in and out of school so frequently. At times it can be difficult to establish and build those strong relationships. And like I said, I've been doing this for 7 years. And I have kids who I had in 8th grade and who are now sophomores and freshmen in college.
Yeah.
And those relationships are strong. But when you have a kid whose parents are unstable and they're going from school to school several times a year, it does get difficult to say, I know your mama. Okay, well, so does the last two schools I went to. They knew my mom too. But it has to be extremely intentional. So having that relationship is very important. You're right.
Well, let me also ask this follow-up question too. With teachers, do you believe that we should have teachers that relate directly to our students. Meaning, if it's an African American school, we need to have more African American teachers, because I say this, I'm a big studier on Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all of our past civil rights leaders, and even before that in the 1900s with our Frederick Douglasses and all that good stuff like that. Do you believe that we need to have more educators for our African American kids that look like them? Because I say that if you have a Caucasian teacher or any other ethnicity who takes the time, just like what we said, to do family engagement, to do student engagement, should it still be a problem? Or are we making excuses for the children that say that we need for them to look like us?
So one thing that Jason and I were talking about, this idea of communication/miscommunication. I think there's a benefit to having people who look like you in front of you, successful, that can be your role model. Because, Miss Johnson came from X, Y, and Z. That could be my life. I could be doing that. I get that. But do I think there are teachers who don't look like my kids, who have empowered and inspired them just as much, if not more, based on relationship? Absolutely. But there's a benefit to that. I think we need to get more black men in the schools. That's my piece. I just know with all the issues that our young men are facing, I need, as a teacher, to see young black men pulling that. Black teachers pulling young black men to the side, saying, "Hey, you pull your pants up, young black intelligent man," and always affirming who they are, even if they don't know who they are. You young black man, pull your pants up, son. Young brother, young handsome king, do your work.
And you know, what you just said, those words like that, it means so much, and it resonates in your brain. Like I'm big in communications and frequencies and producing, engineering, stuff like that. So I know the more you hear something like we was talking about off air with programming, the more you hear nice things and encouraging things,
absolutely,
it makes you want to do better. I'm a humongous person. When I'm in my car, I only listen to positive messages.
Absolutely.
If it's not positive, I don't listen to it. I start off my day with listening to mentors, like in other countries and other states. Like I don't know if you guys ever heard of Jack Ma before, who created the Chinese version of Amazon here in the States and brought it over. You see, I listen to different motivators like that to start my day off. You know, that's very important. Like I seen over at, I know you say you're at KIPP, but I know at Tinley, I seen something what they do. Like they get the kids riled up with mellow music in the morning. I don't know if you guys do that there, but I've seen Tinley do that, where they get them started their day off with calm, Mozart music and stuff like that. They're a little bit more reserved. And I've seen some schools where they just eat breakfast, go to class. You see what I mean? So it's a complete different compare and contrast. You have got to set the mood
absolutely
before the kids go into the classroom. We live in a different time where the mood is not set. You know, I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to have a 2-parent household. You know, my mom made sure she made breakfast. She felt discouraged if she didn't make the breakfast that morning, you see, but they don't get that there. You know, these kids children come to school with Takis before, you see what I mean? Like,
bag of Takis.
I just want to throw, you just want to throw it out the window, man. It's crazy. Jason, and we're going to take a break here in 2 minutes. As a community activist, I know that you work with young men. How do you feel that young men need to be more productive in this society? We always say that they need to be. What are the steps? We need true answers. What are the steps?
Okay, you want to eliminate poverty? You want to eliminate the murder rate? Like right now?
Yes.
I remember we did this interview, same one with Tony Lamont. And they were like, how can we stop the crime rate? I'm like, it's easy. You have a future, right? Somebody cuts you off on the road. You might feel like putting your hands on them, but you don't because of what? You have a future.
Correct. No,
and
yeah,
you know
I guess,
it.
yeah.
And you know it too, right? Okay. Now, if I ask you to meet me somewhere, the first thing you're going to say is where? And I don't tell you. So say you're crazy enough to say you're going to try to find me. How would that feel? Going out into this huge world trying to find me because I didn't give you a destination, so you're lost and you're wandering. How's that feel? Doesn't feel good, right?
No, not at all.
Okay. Now, same analogy, and I'm going to make this quick. If there was $25 million waiting on you, 10 minutes away, right? But we give you 15 minutes. This is a part of a little plan and stuff, right? Little whatever, little TV plan, right?
Gotcha.
And they give you you got 10 minutes. You're just 10 minutes away, but they give you 15 minutes to get there.
Correct.
So you walk out this door, somebody calls you out of your name. Do you fight?
You wasting
Or do
time.
you have somewhere to go?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Somebody
I
cuts you
like
off in traffic. Do you even care about that, or do you got somewhere to go?
that. Yeah, I got
Absolutely.
somewhere
So
to go.
once you show these
Yes,
youth
sir.
what
Yes,
their
sir.
destiny is, that's not the fix. But again, they see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
So I'm not wondering. I know what I'm here for. Then you identify, because we have a whole little plan with this.
Mm-hmm.
Then you partner and you pair them with the top 1% that's doing this. So I want to be a radio personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
We link you to Les Brown, Russ Parr, Tom Joyner, and you hang with them for months.
Yeah.
And then we send you back into your neighborhood. You're ruined. Your chilling ability is ruined.
Gotcha.
Your thinking before acting is ruined
Uh-huh.
because you see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's just phase one. But if you don't know where you're going, forget about it.
Distracted.
Yeah, absolutely
Easily.
right. All right, we appreciate everybody for tuning in with us here on AM 1310 The Light. I forgot to say right at the beginning, make sure you tune in with us live on Facebook at Insight Sundays. Once again, that is Facebook at Insight Sundays, or you can chime in with us on Instagram, Twitter, or Snapchat, all at the name of Insight Sundays. We're going to take a break, and we're going to be right back. What's going on, Indianapolis, and welcome back to another edition of Insight Sundays. We're going to kick back into the show here with our panelists, Jason and Katie. We're going to start right back over here with Jason, and we're going to pick back up a little bit on mentoring the young men. And I want to hit on a topic that's really important, and I want to talk about fatherless homes. What do we need to do to make sure that our hand is always extended to young men who grow up in fatherless homes? You know, again, like I said before we went on break, I was blessed enough to have a 2-parent household. You know, my father wasn't too strict, but he didn't play no games. I knew when that, level of stupidity was enough as a young man, and he'll put me back in my place. But I knew I had that, so that eliminated me acting like a clown in class. My mom was a typical mama. I'm about to tell your daddy, and I'm sitting up at the wall getting ready to cry, waiting for him to get home. So what do we need to do with a fatherless home?
Okay, you want to keep it real?
Keep it real.
All right, it's brutally honest. Okay. Fatherless homes, right? We always talk about teach a son not to be, like his father if his father is on that level, right? But you never really hear relationship empowerment. When we're only alive because of the sexual decisions of our mom and dad.
Yes. Yeah.
So if we are only living because of the sexual decisions of our mom and dad, either it was a fling, it was a relationship, or it was a marriage.
Correct.
That caused that relationship. But relationships and marriages, well, let's just say marriage, divorce. We was talking about that out there.
Okay.
It's climbing at 67%. So again, it's relationships, the reason why these families are starting. But we let's show the young boys stuff over there, when the right is the relationship, knowledge. To the left is education, going to college, and that stuff is great. But what happens when you meet that young lady and you just really feeling her, man? You just really feeling her. Oh my God, and and then a baby comes.
Make the same cycle mistake.
I didn't want to be with you. I was just feeling you.
Deer in the headlights.
I had sexual feelings towards you. That's why we have a baby.
Yes.
Now you're talking about long term. You got, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about that with young males. You know how many people, how many programs I try to pitch relationship workshops to?
Yes.
And they don't get it. And I'm like, well, the youth are going to grow up and start it. And if you don't practice driving ever in your life, and then you throw the keys are thrown to you, how good is your driving going to be? That's one. How many times do we throw the relationship keys to young men?
Yeah.
We give it to young ladies.
True.
But we don't give that to young men. And watch this. This is the capper. The people teaching these classes don't have a history of relationships. Let me explain. A player or a nerd giving relationship advice to your daughter. I will want the player because the nerd doesn't have a history of what? Playing women?
Correct. Absolutely. I get what you mean on that. I get what you mean. Yeah.
But no, that's out of the box, and we're not going to do it. Okay.
They need to
what
tell them the
happens
truth.
when your daughter meets that player. On her own dime? who's gonna win?
Correct.
Because the keys was never thrown to her or him at a younger age.
You know, I'm a big science nerd with that too, so I'm gonna throw this in there. Your analogy was great because it's almost like the flu. You know, you get the flu shot. You know, that's the real deal, but it's a lighter version of it. You can see what it is. Your body can tell what it is. So when you get the real deal, you can fight it off. I like that. It was really good. I really like that analogy a lot. So I'm gonna swing it back over to you, Miss Katie. Why do African Americans make so many excuses to be successful?
Well, I just kind of want to jump back to that last question.
All right.
Fatherless homes. I just want to say, so part of my story is sexual abuse from my father, right? And so, Jason, you talked about relationships with young men. I do agree that young men need to understand what it's like. Okay, when I start feeling this, what do I do? How to properly treat a woman, how to properly present myself to a woman. I think that is extremely important for young men to learn. But I do think one thing that wasn't mentioned is if there is a fatherless home, how can the men of the community who are doing amazing things, who are fathers, who have been taught about relationships, how can you jump in and be a mentor? So, you know, as a young woman with no father in my life, I had a coach who was amazing. I had an uncle who was there. You know, I had people in my community who said, you know what, although I'm not your dad, it wasn't a relationship between me and your mom who made you, I still feel that duty and that responsibility to give you something so that when you do meet that player or that nerd, you know, one, you're beautiful because I told you this 10 times today already. You know, you're smart because I've taught you, you know. And so having that male influence, whether it's a relative or not, I think that's the responsibility and the duty of men who know what it's like to be a good father. Jump in, grab some young man and say, let me mentor you. Let me be that father figure to you. But that's just to add on to what you were saying.
And I'm going to piggyback, you know, on that one too. I'm going to quote a religious leader. I'm not a Muslim, I'm a Christian. But I do like paying attention and then listening to all different religions, even though it's not mine, because Christianity is not the first religion. And that's a whole nother show itself. But I always try to stress that to people that Christianity is not, I won't say it's not the best religion. Let me rephrase that. It is a great religion to be in, but it's not the oldest. And there was something there before then, which is the Muslim, being a Muslim. And Louis Farrakhan said something one time. I was watching one of his videos, and he said, every no good woman was made by a no good man. You know, and the show that we had last week was on relationships and love. It was called The Power of Love. And I always live by a theory that women are hearer learners. You know, and guys are visual. You know, we like to see a woman pretty. We like to see a woman dolled up. We like to see these things. A woman can date a man and he could not be attractive. As long as he's providing, taking care of her, doing what he needs to do, and talking, she will go with the flow. It don't matter if he's ugly or not. He can look like Denzel or somebody else. Okay. So I say that because what you were just saying, how we need to teach them proper relationship coaching, because if you don't know, women will listen to a man if he approaches her
and it sounds good
in a right way or a wrong way. Now we have some strong women, much like yourself, who can say, dude,
excuse you, back it up.
Okay, please. You know, this is not going down. But we have young ladies who are in this millennium generation who goes for the crap. Hey, girl, you know, blah, blah, blah. Let me get in your world. You know what I mean?
They haven't been taught. They haven't heard those. They haven't. That's why.
Yeah.
When you hear you're beautiful every day.
Yes.
And this knucklehead walks up, hey, girl, you so fine. Like, thank you. I know you can do that
Exactly.
because you know your worth and your value and your foundation is set.
And when you just said that, that guy who don't know any better will get intimidated when you do that. See, I had two sisters and a mom, you know, and, you know, my fiance, I approached her the right way. And much like what you did, she's a strong, confident woman. You know, I know I look good, you know. You know, I didn't take that to an offense. The only thing I said was, well, let's see how we can progress.
There we go.
How we can progress together, because you're powerful, I'm powerful. Let's make progression. I didn't feel intimidated because she said, oh, I know I look good. Oh, man, well, what do I? No, I know I look good too as well. So let's go ahead and make this happen down the road. You see what I mean? So it takes confidence that we need to instill in young men on how to approach a beautiful woman correctly. So, that's my 2 cents on that. But back to the prior question, and if you can answer it, and you know what? I'm going to switch this question because I know we only got 2 minutes, and if you guys can give like a quick 30 seconds apiece. Now that Donald Trump is elected and we have him as president, we see what he's doing, we see who he's put in office, and all this good stuff like that in his cabinet. What do we need to do with this new generation of leaders to let them know that this 4 years is going to go by fast? He has an opportunity to do another 4. But what do we need to do to make sure that we get the proper person in office, whether they're Democrat or Republican? Because I think that I think it's just Trump himself. I don't care if it could have been Mitch Romney who got elected and it wouldn't have been this much mass chaos. It's just Trump himself because of the hate rhetoric that he spewed out. So what should we do with the youth and talking to them?
In the words of the great Dame Dash, entrepreneurs don't feel that.
There we go.
Employees feel that.
Mm-hmm.
No, seriously, employees are shaking in their boots. And black people, we don't feel that. We just survived. We survived slavery, man.
Yes,
At the end of the day, we survived some of the most traumatic experiences known to man.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what I love. And Elijah Muhammad actually said that to Farrakhan. But no, Farrakhan did say that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is what I like to say about this whole Trump thing.
Mm-hmm.
Put pressure on black folks because how are diamonds made?
Pressure.
Okay, you putting pressure on us and we actually succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, during the Obama administration,
It was
now I'm just keeping it honest, and this is not my opinion. I'm just saying these are the opinions that I'm getting from a lot of the people that I deal with. We played a lot. We partied a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I seen the kind. I was playing. I was working through that whole 8 years. I worked through that whole 8 years.
Yep.
Because I seen this coming.
Yep.
So you can either establish yourself or play. Trump's in office. We need to unite. And now that person is not serious, but the people who was working during the playtime, while playing through recess, that's the people that I'm want to unite with because those are the people that really saw this coming.
If you can give it in 2 sentences, what would you say?
Value education. Inspire folks to get active in their political communities.
Gotcha. We appreciate it so very much. I appreciate you guys for coming in today again so very much. Thank everybody for tuning in on Facebook at Insight Sundays. Again, you can catch us on Twitter at Insight Sundays, Instagram at Insight Sundays, or Snapchat at Insight Sundays. And we will see you guys next week.